Hey, I'm so excited today. We're going to do the I would click that pin
Yeah, this is a
live Pinterest pin design breakdown.
this is a rare Pinterest Live because we're actually going to share our screens for this one.
What? Crazy.
We don't ever do that.
No.
I think I've done that one time in the history of us
Hmm.
being on YouTube, and we've been
Yeah.
doing this, I think, for 3 years now. So
Hmm.
everyone buckle up.
Wow.
We're gonna show you 3 pins each, so 6 pins today. But before we do that, Jana's gonna walk us through just some best practices in general for pin design and things that you should just be aware of and keep in mind as you are making pins for your brand.
Yep.
That way, when you look at the pins that we've chosen, it makes sense.
Yep.
Great.
Exactly. Okay, let's do that. And I have a couple blog posts about Pinterest pin design that I will put in the description of this video when we're done recording it.
Great.
And Heather, my guess is that you have a couple too. So
I
we'll
probably
definitely
do.
put a few more resources for people who want to learn even more and see more examples.
Yeah.
So either blog posts of yours, Heather, or YouTube videos or both. So we'll put a little list of a couple other resources people can go to if they want more after this as well.
Great.
Okay, so I was looking at my old blog post and it's pretty much still totally accurate as far as like what the best practices are for Pinterest pins. I mean, sometimes the platform changes a little bit here and there, but mostly like a lot of these things are just like good evergreen marketing techniques when it comes to graphics.
Yeah.
And then a couple of them are platform specific. So the first, and there's six of them that I'm going to say that you kind of want to use as like a litmus test for your pins. You can kind of run any pin that you design through this list to make sure that you have hit all these six. And then Heather, if there's any that I've left out, let me know.
Okay.
So the first one is vertical.
Hmm.
Um, we, years later, still see that vertical pins tend to look better on the surfaces in Pinterest, both on your phone and on desktop. I'm going to stop for a second time out and just make sure that you agree with me on that, Heather, that vertical pins are still the way to go if you're designing from scratch.
And they are the best practice according to Pinterest. I will
Okay, good.
say
Yeah.
there has been a just general use case of other image sizes, especially since e-commerce was introduced to the platform, where I do see square images showing up in top pins.
Yep.
I don't think that that should be your primary pin size, but if you see them, then just know that people can engage with those, and they are
Yeah.
engaging with those in certain niches. It doesn't work in every vertical, though.
Yeah. Ah, vertical.
Ah, vertical.
No pun intended. Okay, so when we say vertical, basically we just mean that the pin is longer than it is wide, typically.
Mhm.
Um, there are some dimensions that you can use for best practices if you're creating Canva or whatever, but basically it just means that it's longer than it is wide.
Yep.
But yeah, and square pins also look pretty good. I'd say they're like the kind of the second runner up. What we really kind of want to avoid in general is just like what we used to call squatty pins, where they're
Mhm.
like really wide and not very tall.
Yeah.
They just don't look good in the Pinterest surfaces and they're harder to read. So
Yeah.
that's kind of so that's number one is vertical still the best. Number two is easy to read, and there's like some rollouts from this one, but basically, I always like to say that you want to think about your Pinterest pins like a billboard on a highway.
Yep.
Think about how you're driving down the highway and you see a billboard, and there's only a certain limited period of time where you're close enough to see the billboard and read what it says before you're past it.
Yep.
You only have like a small window, and that's how it is when people are scrolling in their Pinterest feeds as well, whether it's a search feed, their home feed, whatever it is related pins, whatever they need. If you want them to know what your pin is about, you need to make it really easy to read, which means the font needs to be large, in my opinion. I know I see some people use smaller fonts because they think it looks better design wise, but it just, to me, it's counterintuitive because it makes them hard to read.
Hmm.
And also, you want to use script fonts really sparingly because scripts
Yeah.
are hard to read. So I always like to use script fonts for like filler language, but the most important words shouldn't be in script just because the brain has a harder time reading them. The algorithm does sometimes too, like the bots that are actually indexing the pins. But even just like for the human brain, it's hard to read script fonts if you're using them for anything other than just like the filler words, like the how to or something like that.
Yep.
So number one's vertical, number two is easy to read. Number five is compelling copy. And this is like the stuff that just doesn't really ever change because the human brain doesn't change really, right? It's been this way since we started Pinterest, and it probably will be for quite a long time, where the copy itself has to answer the question for someone's brain, what's in it for me?
Exactly.
What's in it for me? Somebody who is scrolling on Pinterest and sees your pin, the only way they're going to pay attention is if they think there's something there for them. It's going to solve a problem for them. It's going to help them do something they've been trying to do. It's interesting or curious to them, right? So, really important to have that what's in it for me factor. And we could talk all day about compelling copy on pins. We could do a whole live stream on it. We could probably do lots of live streams on it. But I think the rule of thumb is if you really think, is this going to get across to my ideal person what's in it for them, why they should stop and look at this, then that's going to be like a really good test of your copy. So
Yep. Okay.
I had number five. That was number three. I messed up my numbers. Um, Number four is light branding. So I like to have the branding on your pin, but we don't want it to take over or draw attention away from the copy. So
Hmm.
I'll just have like a little watermark on the bottom that says like at Jana O Media, or my logo in the bottom, really, really small and like light. You can like take the opacity of it down so that it's there and people can kind of notice it, but it's not like pulling away, pulling focus.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is having a call to action. And this is optional, and I do this on some of my pins and then not on other ones. I like to kind of do a little bit of both.
Yep.
But having a call to action on some of your pins can be really good, like read the blog or download the free guide, or, whatever the call to action is. So those are I think it was six. And like I said, we'll link some other resources so that if you want to go deeper and learn more about why we say those things about pins and about how they should look, you'll have an opportunity to do that. And then Heather, before we start looking at specific pins and showing people pins that we are thinking when we see them, I would pin that, or I would click on that. What did I miss? Did I miss anything about Pinterest pin best practices from your perspective?
No, just in general, sizing from Pinterest is aspect ratios are 4 to 5, 9 to 16, or 2 to 3.
Hmm.
Those are all taller than they are wide.
Yep.
Um, and I think everything else is fine, is great for what you said. What's in it for me is fantastic. Um, Pin design is one of those things that is a skill you're going to learn. You're not going to get it great the first time around. You're probably going to hate everything that you put out. And if you don't hate it now, you might hate it in 6 months, and that's okay. You just have to
Mhm.
get going in publishing, because the people on the other side are they are going to be who, determines if the content is worthy or not.
Mhm.
And that's after Pinterest indexes it and serves it to the audience. So if you don't do the homework up front of getting, titles and descriptions and all of that stuff in place, then you may not even get far enough that people are even clicking on them. So you just have to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
started.
yeah. That's a really good point. Is like pin design is one element
Mhm.
of making good pins, but just designing a really good pin that meets all these best practices isn't really going to help you if you don't have the other pieces in place, like the keyword research and things
Yeah,
like that. So it is important to mention that, like it's just one aspect of Pinterest marketing to master. So, and I know you teach all about all of the different things, including pin design inside the membership.
I do. I
Yep.
do. Okay, so we're gonna share screen now. Do you want to go first,
Okay,
Jana?
sure.
We're gonna
Let's
popcorn
go.
back and forth.
Okay.
Um, Jana's gonna go, and then I'll go, and I chose pins from 3 different niches. I'm interested to see what Jana did, because I did
Yep.
not look at your pins before we came into this.
Ooh, surprise. Okay.
Surprise.
Yeah, I don't, just so you know, the three that I chose, they're not people that I know. They're not pins I designed. I just did a few searches for some things that I've
Yeah.
had past clients and past students inside my program, High Leverage Content, and inside my program, Pinterest with Purpose, or my
Yeah.
course. Just like niches and topics that I've seen them promote, essentially.
I think that's great.
So I
I'm
just pulled up
also,
random. I don't know this person, Bonza Health. I just think that this person, whoever this is, designed a good pen. So I'm
yeah.
gonna talk about why. So And just so y'all know, I'm not looking at the pin title. I'm not looking at the pin description, although it does look like it was done pretty well. But really today we're just looking at the design. Um, and I already see one thing that I would do differently. I'm already like seeing like, oh, wait a minute. I just like kind of contradicted myself because of the script font. In this case, I don't think it's too bad because I think you can read it. But I probably, if I were to have done this differently, I would probably make the trigger migraines be in the same font as the how hormones so that it would be easier to read. Um, and if I really wanted to use the script font, I probably would change the and what you can do to the script font. But even that, I would just probably leave it like it is and just not use the script font at all in this pin, just to give everybody, to be honest, like I kind of messed up here when I chose this pen.
Yeah,
But that being said, this is a great example of how like even if it's like the rules, like sometimes it can work because I
you
can
can
read
bend
this
them.
fine. And I think if this was a billboard on the highway, I would know what it was about. And part of that is because we can tell from the picture that the woman is holding her head, like so it kind of like matches up with the message of the pin. So that helps a little bit too with my brain quickly understanding that this pin is about how hormones trigger migraines. And I love the fact that she added and what you can do. I do that a lot
Me
with my
too.
pins because it's like I want to let them know that like not only am I going to explain to you why this happens, but I'm actually going to help you solve it by
Hmm.
saying and what you can do. So I feel like that part makes this pin a little bit more compelling and really gives me more of that what's in it for me factor. Like, oh, she's not just going to tell me what I already know,
Yeah.
that my hormones could be the reason why I'm having this migraine. She's going to give me some things to try that might fix this for me or help me fix this. And that's the part that's like what's in it for me. So I like that. I like the fact that it says learn more as like a call to action. The fact it's kind of like I like when people design a pin like this, it almost looks like a little button because our brains are kind of trained to know like, oh, that's a button. I could click on it. And
Hmm.
even though technically it's not a live button, if you were to click on it, actually, can we click on the image anymore? I'm not sure we can. I think now we have to click on the
It depends. Some days you
yeah,
can and some days you can't.
but the big visit site, is really where you can click right here. So,
Yeah, you
but
click
the
visit
idea
site.
that it's learn more kind of like in that button kind of style, it sends the message to my brain that like, oh, I could click on something and go over and read this, right? And learn
Mhm.
more about why this is happening and what I can do about it. So these are all things that I like about it. It's pretty easy to read overall. It's got the call to action. It has the branding on the bottom, and the fact that like the pin itself has like the greenish border, but then the branding's on the bottom in the white, that's a great example of what I was saying about how you don't want the branding to like pull focus from the message. The
Yeah.
first thing you notice when you look at this pin is not the branding, and that's how it should be. It should just be there to like subtly convey the message that, oh, this is a person who has like a legitimate website that talks about things like this. This isn't going to bring me to an Instagram post. It's not going to bring me to someone who doesn't have their own domain. These are just like subtle hints that this could be worth clicking on, but it's not pulling away from the message. The first thing I saw when I looked at this was migraines and the woman holding her head. And then I was like, oh, okay, what else about migraines? So that's how my brain kind of processed this as though I was like driving by it on a busy highway, right?
This is
Okay, so that's my first one. Anything you notice about this that you want to add to?
no, well, okay, one thing that I did notice, and you
Hmm.
wouldn't notice this unless you clicked over to the website,
Hmm.
is this is an actual MD writing the article.
Oh.
So the credentials are there for someone that is talking about this.
Hmm.
And she's multiple board certified, it appears. This is an article about how hormones trigger migraines. And then when you click over to the article, it says migraines during perimenopause. So immediately you're like niching yourself into your audience once they land on the site. And I think that's really good.
Hmm.
Pin titles do not always have to match the blog title exactly. It does not need to be a
Hmm.
constant
Right.
repeat of what you were doing on your website.
Yep.
Um,
Good
so
point.
she's really attracting more of a broader audience with the pin. And once they get to the blog, they'll be able to identify, oh, this might be for me. And they'll also see her credentials as well and know that she probably does know what she's talking about because she's an
Yep.
MD.
Agree with all of that. And also, um, I think there are ways for health coaches who are not MDs to write about these topics without being like irresponsible. So I just wanted to throw that out
Yeah,
there.
no, there are. I'm
So I just want
just
to make sure
shocked.
that's.
I was shocked the first one you pulled up was
Mm-hmm.
an MD, Jana.
Yeah. Yes.
I know you didn't vet any of these. I mean, you looked at the
No,
pins,
no, I didn't.
obviously, but you
Yeah.
didn't look at the content probably beyond
Mm-mm.
that. So,
No, no, I didn't. And I have actually, I have some MDs in high leverage content who are
yeah.
functional health practitioners and
I have
people like that.
also
So,
helped MDs with Pinterest in the
hmm.
past, as well as
Yep.
therapists
Yep.
um, who also have, state licenses and they have to abide by board certifications and things like that. So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
they
Me too.
exist.
And I also have folks in HLC who are not licensed or
Hmm.
certified, but still are educated in these things and write their content responsibly too, and don't
Yeah,
try to diagnose or pretend that they're MDs or anything. So,
good. Great.
all right. I
Okay,
will stop my share so you can share one.
I'll share. I gotta get the thing up. Okay, that was the article. And okay, my first one is in the travel space. So, my
Hmm.
caveat is that I'm going to do travel, food, and marketing. Those are my three
Travel,
um,
food, and marketing
pins.
are going to be your three niche pins. Okay. I can't see your pin yet. Oh, there it is. Okay.
And then the marketing pin is my own pin, and that's going to come last. So
Ah.
this again, just like Jana, I do not work with Camille. I do not work with whoever the Southern Peach Cobbler recipe lady is. Obviously, I do my own marketing, so it is my pin that I made.
Yeah.
But these two people, I don't know. I just went to Pinterest and I searched for a topic I was interested in, and I chose pins based on that. And the first topic that I searched was Paris. We went to Paris last summer, and I was looking for things to, as I was discussing museums with you, I was
Yeah.
looking at possibly other things that we could do in the evenings after, the day that we'd spent in the museum. So this is a really neat pin. I like that it's extra tall, and I like that the text is in the middle to the top two-thirds of the pin.
Hmm.
It's got two call outs. Jana's pin had three. This one has two. It says vacation ideas. And then underneath in the big, bold, easy to read letters, summer Paris travel guide. It's very straight to the point. It's very easy to read. I love the black background and the white font. It's also
Hmm.
easy on the eyes. And then there are four images of this person in Paris in the background. But the words are really what your eye is drawn to for this Pinterest pin, which is why it probably is ranking at the top for the very narrow search term of Paris. I only searched the word Paris
Oh, wow.
and I
That
found
was
this
wide.
pin. So I
Oh,
know she's
okay.
probably getting quite a bit of traffic.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it too. I love the subtle branding at the bottom too, because I think for her, for all of
Yep.
us, really, our branding is important, but again, we don't want it to pull focus. And it seems like
Yeah,
even though it's a very sophisticated looking pin, it's super simple because she just put in four images and she could
it is.
duplicate
I love
this
how
and
simple it
do,
is.
yeah, she could do like, best museums to visit in Paris for art lovers and put in four different
Mhm.
images and it would take her probably, 10 seconds to swap everything out and make a pin for another post. So, simple pins
Yeah, exactly. And
perform
that's,
really well and they're easy to use when it's time to
mhm.
duplicate them for more pins.
Yeah. Now, I want to draw your attention just briefly to the pin title. I know we're talking about pin design today, but notice that the pin title is slightly different, has a couple of different things on it versus the actual pin itself. This is one of the call outs I was making with Jana's hormone migraine pin is between the text overlay, the pin title, and the blog title. They don't all have to be exactly the same. You can vary these in whatever way you wish. So I think this is really great. This is giving her just even more indexing capability on Pinterest, having summer Paris travel guide and then best places to eat, shop, and stay. Pinterest is reading this as Paris travel guide, best places to eat, shop, and stay,
Hmm.
Paris itinerary. So if someone searched for Paris itinerary, this pin is likely to come up. If people search, best places to eat in Paris, this pin is probably going to come up. And, with all of the different ways that you can mix and match that. So I think this is really just a stunner example of a pin that I found in
It's
Tucson.
gorgeous. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous and it's super effective. And I know we're not talking about pin descriptions today, but I will just say real quick that I love how her description is starts right off with her own POV. Paris is one of Camille's favorite cities.
Hmm.
So it's like it gives you all of this like indexing and great images and a simple message. And then the description actually gives you a little bit of like, oh, this is coming from a certain or like a real human
Yeah.
who's been to Paris, who knows these things, who has favorites, you know? And that to me also kind of makes this pin kind of more clickable too, because I'm like, oh, cool, it's not like an AI written guide.
Yeah.
So there's so many good things about this pin. I love it. Great choice.
Okay. I'm gonna unshare my screen and I'll let you reshare.
Okay. Okay. This is the next one. So I think I searched yoga website ideas or yoga studio website ideas, something like that,
Yeah.
to get this pen. And it's really simple and clean
Hmm.
design-wise, which I really like. It's really
Yeah.
easy to read. 4 key things yoga teachers should have on their website.
I love that.
Yep. I like how she did the yoga teachers in italics because sometimes I think we need to be fancy, so we're choosing multiple fonts, but then it makes it hard to
Yeah.
read. So this gives it a little bit of like style and panache, which for most of us isn't really that important, but for her,
Yeah.
she wants it because she's a designer
Yeah.
without making it look too complicated or hard to read. So I just thought that was really a good choice. And then I like her little read more button because
Mhm.
it shows it's really important for designers to put some kind of call to action on pins like this
Yep.
because sometimes like designers get a lot of saves of their content, but they don't always get a lot of clicks. Or it's easy sometimes for people to like say like, oh, people are saving, but they're not clicking. So
Yeah.
having that call to action button to remind people that they can click over and read more about what these 4 things are is really good. And you know, some people would say, well, isn't it obvious that there's like a blog post on the other side of this? I mean, she's saying 4 things, and it's like, yes, but our brains are so busy and thinking about so many different things at once. We have so many inputs these days. And remember, someone's usually not looking at a pen when they first discover it in this type of setting. They're looking at it in a feed full of all kinds of other pens too.
Yeah.
So really like connecting the dots and walking people down that path, being like, read more, like, oh yeah, I can read more. It just again reminds the brain that there's an action that can be taken if you want to know what these 4 things are. And you know, if I'm a yoga studio and I'm like looking for new ideas for a new website that I'm thinking about hiring someone for, I'm going to want to know what these 4 things are according to what looks like an expert to me.
Yeah.
And speaking of what looks like an expert, she also has this really subtle branding at the bottom. And the fact that her website is called Yogi Web, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. This person, obviously, if she has a domain that's called Yogi Web, I can probably trust that what she thinks are the 4 key things that I should have as a yoga teacher on my website probably come from some kind of experience that she's had. So again, it's that like POV showing me that there's a real human. I don't know if it's a real human, but like there's someone here who's an expert. So
Yeah.
that's what that subtle branding does. Now think about it. Imagine if this pin didn't have that branding at the bottom. It's not that I wouldn't click it. It's missing that extra little oomph that's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is from like a real qualified resource, you know?
Hmm.
So it has all of those elements and I just really like it. It's nice and clean and I might have put a border around it, but that's just me. So,
So I like it as well. The only thing I probably would have done is situated the image in a frame. So this image looks pretty
mm,
tall, like the 9:16 aspect ratio for Instagram.
that's what I was thinking. The
I
frame,
might
like,
have
aura.
done
Yeah.
it in a 1000 by 1500 size. So
Mm,
the actual image of the computers don't cut off on each side. This is literally me nitpicking. This pin is just fine.
hmm
And then I might take and put a website logo at the top of the pin in that blank space instead of
hmm
just the URL at the bottom.
hmm
Another way that I would go about a pin like this is to quite literally flip the text with the image. So this is just a reminder. It's not necessarily best practice, but this is just a reminder that pinners are primarily located in the United States or in, you know, among European nations, and a lot of them speak English. The great majority of pinners are English speakers. That means we read top to bottom, left to right. And if your text is at the bottom, but then you
Hmm.
have competitor pins that are coming underneath with images, they might get confused with the text on your pin being at the bottom and images for something else being at the top.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
so it
Yeah. So
happens.
you prefer to have the text at the top
I
because it's
prefer
more
to,
like the norm on Pinterest. Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
I prefer to have the text at the top
Hmm.
versus at the bottom. Now, I do very much make pins with text at the bottom. It is
Oh,
just less of a focus for me.
yeah. Okay.
So that's it.
Cool. All right. I'm going to stop sharing and go over to yours next. I think you've got a peach cobbler
I
pin
do.
coming from what I've heard.
Oh no, I just closed it. Hang on, I gotta reopen it.
Okay.
I love peach cobbler too. Okay. This is from a lady called Dessert for Two. And it is a double frame Pinterest pin. And again, I don't know if my eye just tends to navigate to pins with text in the middle, but the text is in the top half of this pin.
Hmm.
And it is all one font, or it appears to all be 1 to 2 fonts. I think this is a serif and this is a sans or something like that.
I think
But
they're
there
all
again,
serif, but they're very similar.
they're very
So they look
similar.
streamlined. Yeah.
Again, this is very, very simplistically created, and this ranks at the
Hmm.
top of the peach cobbler search that I made.
Mm.
Southern is in a different color than the word peach cobbler. Southern peach cobbler is a very different recipe than other places in the world.
Oh, who knew? Okay.
It's just a very different approach to cobbler recipe. So a
Cobbler.
lot of people are looking for that. And then I like the imagery. It's bright. It is clearly peaches. You can clearly see that it's a cobbler. I like that
Hmm.
the first image has the full dish undisturbed, and the second image has some of it scooped out. It just shows that this is like, I don't know if this is AI. Honestly, I don't think this is AI. I think I've actually come across this
I doubt
person,
it. Yeah, I doubt this is
but
AI.
it looks as close to real as possible. Um,
Oh yeah, I think it's real.
Yeah, and I don't know, I really like this. It's very simple. They did put a little bit of they made the peach cobbler words kind of stand up. There's a shadow. That's what I was looking for. There's a shadow
Yeah.
behind words, so it kind of stands off.
Yeah.
And then we have the two phrases. So we have summer dessert idea and then
Hmm.
Southern peach cobbler. And then we have the very easy dessertfor2.com logo at the bottom.
Yep. Yep. It meets all of our criteria and looks delicious.
It
I
does.
also just little note, I noticed that there's like an actual raw peach up in the upper left-hand corner,
Yeah.
which I think is also really good because that's like you when you were saying we read top to bottom, left to right. Like the first thing your eye kind of sees there
Mhm.
if you're doing that is a peach. So
Mhm.
if there's any question as to whether this is apples or peaches in the image, it's like, oh, no, it's peach. I
Definitely
wouldn't be
peach.
surprised if that might have been added in the design.
Yeah, I don't think
You
so. A
know what I
lot of
mean? Like it
these
might not be native to the photo, but that's cool. Like if you have a native photo, but then you add a peach like that, I think that's fine, you know?
A lot of you can definitely do that, but a lot of these food creators, I have come across this lady, but it's been a long time. Um, a lot of these food creators hire professional um
Image creators.
photographers to actually cook the
Oh, yeah.
recipe and take photos of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Love
not
it.
all
Okay.
of them, but some of them do. And one of the gals that I used to help with Pinterest and I learned from myself earlier in my Pinterest marketing journey was one of those people, and she's an amazing cook.
Mm.
So,
Hmm.
yeah. Okay, what do you have? This is your
All right.
third. Is this your third one?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
we're cranking right along. Okay, so the thing I really like about this one is I like how with the copy, the text, she used the same font, but she made the different parts of
I
it
love
different
that.
colors. And I've done that with pins designs before as well. I wouldn't say this is a perfect pen. There's a couple things I might be nitpicky about, but I mean, we could be nitpicky about literally any pen, even one that we
Yeah, sure.
designed, a month ago or whatever.
I'm
But with
always
this, I
nitpicky.
really like the way she did the colors here. because it really gives you a sense of like what the different elements of this are. Like it's about Kajabi features, right?
Mhm.
It's for coaches. And
Yep.
so if you're a coach, like your eye is going to be caught by that and understand that this is not just any old Kajabi article or any old article about Kajabi features. It's actually specifically written for you and your type of business if you're a coach. And then the get more clients part is very much like the main thing that most coaches are looking to try to do in their business. Um, so that's pulled out as well in a different color. And it's going to, again, grab the attention of someone whose main goal with their marketing and with their platforms and that type of thing is to get more clients. It's also a great example of the what's in it for me factor
Yeah.
because basically this person's not only saying like, hey, these are the best Kajabi features for coaches. They're saying these are the best Kajabi features to help you get more clients. So it's really calling out like the main overall goal of why somebody would want to use these Kajabi features, why they might want to use Kajabi, why if they're doing research on different website platforms right now, they might want to consider Kajabi. So it's really like it's really a powerful, what's in it for me example, and that's really why I pulled it out and why I like it. It also does have that subtle branding at the bottom, which again reinforces this person's brand if you're seeing multiple pins from this person, but also lets you know that this is from actually someone who is a design expert, right?
Yep.
The one thing I don't love about it is the image because I feel like the image is a little bit doesn't match. It's a little incongruent with the message.
The image looks like
It's
Pinterest and
it
not.
it is, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like, what does Pinterest have to do with this? And I'm sure maybe it does have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Maybe in the article
Maybe it's a
there's some
pin it button.
connection.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's like it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. I'd rather see a
A,
mock-up
Ka-
of like a Kajabi
a
website,
Kajabi website. Yeah.
right? So that's the only thing I would say that's a little weird about this. But it didn't stop me from noticing it and thinking, oh, that's something I would read if I were a coach and I was looking for different website platforms. And my overall goal is to choose a platform that's going to make things as easy as possible for me to run my business and get more clients, right?
Yeah.
So I like this one. I like the colors. I like all of it, other than maybe just an image that would be a better match for the actual topic. So yeah.
Great. I don't have any thoughts on this one other than, what we've talked about before with the text being at the top.
Yeah. And I would encourage anyone who's like thinking about adding like script fonts or different fonts to your pins to try this instead. This whole
Yeah.
thing with the colors. Like if you're trying to set things aside like that and kind of make it a little more stylish, but also like underscore and enhance the messaging, instead of using scripty fonts, oh, I hate script fonts.
I wanted
Um,
to say something about this.
mm,
Um, I'm not a huge fan of script fonts either. I really like the idea of using a font family and maybe
mhm,
you use a bold and a light font
yeah,
or a bold and a normal font,
right.
or you use the sans and the serif in the same font
Yeah.
to kind of offset them, or you do
Hmm.
use maybe italics or some underlines and you play with that. But
Right.
before you go adding script fonts to your marketing
Right.
imagery, I would challenge you to do something else first.
Exactly. This is another example, what I mentioned earlier, where it's the yoga teachers is italicized.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
I were doing this font, I might even make the yoga teachers that word, those
bold.
two words, a different color
A different color, or I would
in
even
the way
bold
that
it.
this person did it, or bold. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Okay.
like that the font
That's
is all one size as well, and it's like
exactly.
your your eye is drawn to the get coaches get more clients and
Yep.
not the other words there. It's Kajabi coaches get more clients is really
Hmm.
what my eye goes to here.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
that's aided in the fact that it's all one size.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly.
okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna throw a curveball at everybody. Um, this is a pen that I use for my email list. And I have obviously this is just the last 30 days, so don't ignore the
The
stats, okay?
impressions. Yep.
This is a pin that I made for an ad, but all
Hmm.
pins that I make are for organic first. So
Hmm.
I made this pin with that kind of thing at the top, this free strategy guide, that's more of my call to action
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Have start marketing on Pinterest. So I used start and Pinterest in the same color family because I
Yep.
want people to know that they should start Pinterest. That was the whole kind of psychology behind this pin.
Yep.
Then this is obviously for my email list, and I give away my free Pinterest strategy guide for my email list, anyone that joins. And so the second set of text, and this is a very text heavy pin, and I normally caution people away from doing text heavy pins. But in this instance, because there's no imagery, there's no stock photo, there's no photo of me,
Mm-hmm.
the image is of the guide laid out.
Yep.
I'm really relying on the text to do the heavy lifting here, and this really stops the scroll.
Yep.
This is on the
I love it.
longer side for me. So I normally do 1000 by 1500, but for this one, I did a longer pin to try that out.
Yeah.
But that secondary line of text is use this free Pinterest strategy guide to start now.
Yes. Call to action.
I think the
Love it.
only other thing I could have done here is taken that rusty orange color and made the start now that color as well. So it would have been like start Pinterest free now. Almost like
Mm-mm.
those are the words that are in a different.
No, no, because if you're, I don't think so. I'm glad you did it this way because and you probably knew this when you were doing it. It's like my eye is going to start Pinterest free.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so if you had made the strat to start now, it would be like redundant because it would be like start Pinterest free, start now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So this is a pin that has been in the top of my own Pinterest account for impressions and outbound clicks in the last 90 days. It's been at the very top of my list. That's why I chose it.
Cool.
And this is just a totally different take on all of the different pins that we've shown you today. We've shown you travel, food, marketing, web design and brand design, health. And then this is another take kind of on this marketing piece, without it being a blog post, because not every single Pinterest pin that you make has to be a blog post. It can be
Hmm.
a YouTube video. You can make pins to your podcast episodes that lead to your podcast player and your blog post. You can do pins to your link tree if you wanted to, your link and bio page, pins to your email list, pins to your paid products. They do not all need to go to a free blog post.
Cool.
And that's it. That's what we have for you today.
All right.
That was a pretty hefty lift. Maybe we should take
Yeah.
these pins, Jana, and put them in the description later as well.
Sure.
I'll make sure that all my links are in one place, and I'll check for a blog post as well for extra resources for anyone that might be interested in going to the site later and looking at what I have to say about pin design. Jana's going to share a couple blog posts about pin design. And we would challenge and encourage you to use some of these tips the next time you sit down and make a batch of fresh pins.
Yes, ma'am. I love it.
Okay, we have a live next week. I just want to check in on our upcoming schedule. So June 24th at 10 a.m. Eastern, we're talking about 3 ways we grow our email lists with Pinterest. And then we are off for the month of July, Jana,
Yeah. No YouTube lives during July.
which is not new news. It is normal for us.
Always our plan, right?
Yep.
And then we'll be back in August. And
Yep.
thanks to our fabulous support team, specifically Javitha, who's on my team,
Yes. Thank you, Javitha, for all your hard work.
we have all of our August dates pre-scheduled out. So even though we know you're all going to miss us so much in July,
Yeah.
you can put our August dates on there for if you see any topics that are scheduled for August that you know you want to be part of, you can put that on your calendar so you can come live and ask your questions.
We have, thanks to Javitha, clear into the
Mhm.
first week of September actually scheduled.
Oh, how awesome is that?
I know. She's incredible.
Yep.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Rewatch the replay. And if you have questions, feel free, do leave them in the description, or not the description, the comments on the YouTube video. And I'll do my best to come back and check on you guys in a day or so. All right, bye.
Cool. Bye.
I forgot to tell you last week that
Mhm.